What up, world? Welcome to an episode of Brand New Show. As you know, I am Brand New, and like always, on all podcast platforms everywhere, Brand New Show. Instagram threads, real, REAL, Brand New Show. Facebook, The Brand New Show. And of course, TikTok, Brand New Show. That is all. Well, also at X, BJanu. So go follow me on all of those social media platforms. I would appreciate it if you did. If you did. Really, where you go is the YouTube channel, man. YouTube channel brings a new show, man. Subscribe, comment, like the vids, like the shorts. Helps an algorithm if you do. Would appreciate it if you did. Ah, let's get into it. Usually I do this on Tuesdays, but today is Monday and a lot of shit going on. So today it is Bleed Sports. So I had a whole different episode written hell down. I'm gonna still talk about some stuff, but there's been some stuff going on that I gotta talk about. Uh, talk about baseball. Baseball season is about to heat up. Talk about the baseball season coming up. The NBA. We got some news in the NBA that's very interesting. That can affect some teams, some markets. Uh, yeah, talk about the NBA MVP race, which I'm very pissed off about when it comes to the NBA media, the sports media in general. But that's just how sports media is. And of course, what happened this past week? Max Crosby in the NFL, with Max Crosby and the Ravens situation, and of course, what should they do? And today's team is the Tennessee Titans. But let's get into it this way. So I wasn't going to talk about this, but I feel like I have to. Um, So last week I talked about Unrivaled, the women's basketball league Unrivaled, and I talked about this a little bit last week, and just showing love to those women, all those women that are in Unrivaled, and I kind of talked about how media is trying to portray Unrivaled compared to the WNBA, right? Like they were trying to talk down on Unrivaled, saying how is it a concern for the WNBA that Unrivaled is basically pulling in numbers and selling out, doing great in these arenas that they were in, the cities that they were in. Really amazing. Unrivaled was doing an incredible job for those women, giving them, basically what they have earned and worth in women's basketball. They have killed, and the league Unrivaled was great. And now we're kind of getting closer and closer to the WNBA coming back. They still got to do the bargaining agreement. But there's one thing about this that is definitely happening right now, and that is Team USA. The women's Team USA basketball team is starting to play. You got a lot of women on that team. But of course, what does the media do? And it's not just the media. I'm seeing it on Facebook and all of this shit. Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is on his Team USA women's team. No offense to her, no diss to her. But with all that talent on the W Women's NBA US team, she is not the main fucking source. And I feel like that. And again, the narrative is Caitlin Clark. That's just the narrative of the of NBA, well, women's basketball media. That that it's Caitlin Clark or nothing. And that is not the true narrative of the situation. And I feel like, and again, I don't like talking about this woman, this young lady. I don't like talking about her. It sucks that I say this all the time that we lean with negativity in this world nowadays, especially if you got something that can divide people immediately. And Caitlin Clark is no offense to herself, like well no, um you know no you know offense to her, but she is the divider. She is the line in the sand when it comes to a lot of this shit. When it comes to how the WNBA women's basketball is being portrayed, being portrayed in sports media. All these women on this team, the amazing talent that they have on that women's US team, and the way that the people are using her name again to try to drive a wedge in between women's basketball and a person is crazy to me. No offense to her, but bruh, like God Almighty. And again, it goes back to what I said last week with Unrivaled. The women's league that they put together is amazing. Every single one of those women that are playing in that league, they get a chance to perform in that league, show what they are capable of. It is succeeding because every single woman understands that they need each other to succeed. And that is probably why I love that league so much. Because as much as Jay want to sit here and create bullshit narratives, every single woman is choosing to play basketball with each other, get selected to go to teams, and be a part of it. They're even signing for agents. Like I said last week, they are putting women on these teams that might not even get the look from the WNBA, but they're putting them on this team and letting them play. And that is awesome. But here comes this fucking narrative again, where it's like you have to push this agenda. And it's like, I have no problem with Caitlin Clark. It's the fucking agenda I got a problem with. It's the narrative that y'all are trying to paint. And that is that if it's not Caitlin Clark, then the WNBA is going to fail. And that's fucking a lie because I'm seeing these women play basketball without her. And Unrivaled did amazing. The fucking ratings were doing great. We were talking about these women left and fucking right throughout social media. It was never a problem. There was never a narrative that needed to be painted about these women. And yet, here it is again. Caitlin Clark's finally back, and now here it is. Team USA is only winning because Caitlin Clark's there. That's fucking lying. That Team USA team would have won with or without her. And that's something that the narrative that they don't want to drive, which is the league would succeed with or without Caitlin Clark. The league succeeded last year without her. The fuck you talking about? And again, it's not her. It's the media. It's these fans. And the problem with this is that Caitlin Clark is the name. She is the vehicle to get people to watch the WNBA. That is beautiful. The problem with that is that not everybody is there to actually watch the women play basketball. They are there to drive a fucking narrative. And the fact of the matter is, there are better women that play in the WNBA than Caitlin Clark. And that isn't a black thing. That's just a fucking observation. That's point blank fucking period. Paige Beckers is better than Caitlin Clark. That's facts. Yeah, that's facts. Paige Beckers is better than Caitlin Clark. Sabrina Ionescu is better than Caitlin Clark. That's facts. That's facts. Kelsey Plum is better than Caitlin Clark. That's facts. Brianna Stewart is better than Caitlin Clark. That's facts. And before you try to run out here with this narrative that that was all four white women that I just named. That's all four white women that I just named. Four white women that I just named. So you try to run with that narrative of it's a black thing. No, it's not. There's four white women that are better than her. Not saying she's not a good, but if you ask me right now to start a team, give me Paige Beckers. You miss Sabrina Ionescu. Even at her advanced age in her career, I would still take Brianna Stewart to start a fucking franchise over Caitlin Clark. Shit, Kelsey Plum. I would take her over Caitlin Clark at this moment because she knows what the game is. She knows what she has to do. She knows her assignment. And the team does not have to predicate off of her. The narrative that people want to drive, and again, like I said, it's great that Caitlin Clark is the vehicle to get people to talk about the WNBA, but now you actually have to talk about the fucking league, not just her. And that's where the problem kicks in. These women are busting their ass and putting this fucking league on their shoulders every fucking week. And like I said, I didn't hear a peep from the media about how Unrivaled was bad, or I didn't hear shit. But because it was a league that was predicated on these women actually playing basketball and not a fucking narrative that you had to drive every fucking week about how Caitlin Clark is saving something, it made it worse. That you didn't talk about this league until it got too big and it was positive. Like I said last week, when people started talking about the NBA All Star Weekend, and they were saying, "Man, they should probably put the women's one on one, like the women, because during this time, Unrivaled was doing one on one. The best players in Unrivaled was going up against, and these are top tier women in the WNBA. I'm talking about Chelsea Gray and Julia Lloyd and you had real top tier talent going one Paige Beckers and shit like they're going one on one with each other to the point where men like we were watching All-Star game like, man, if you replace the slam dunk contest with a one on one competition, imagine Anthony Edwards going one on one with Jalen Brown. If Shai Gilgeous was healthy, Anthony Edwards versus Shai Gilgeous-Alexander one on one, no team, just who's the best player, who truly is the best player. I would have loved that. I would have fucking watched that shit like, yep. Hell yeah, let's do that. But the narrative that people have painted immediately now that she's back playing basketball is they need her. No, they don't. The league has never needed Caitlin Clark, bro. That is the narrative that y'all have driven. Because if that was such the fact that you wanted to sit there and say that the league needs Caitlin Clark, then how the fuck has Unrivaled become so successful without her? Caitlin Clark has not dribbled a ball in Unrivaled. Now you can sit there and say because she was hurt. Yeah, probably. But at the same time, the success of that league does threaten the WNBA. They got a contract without the fucking league. Tells you a lot. And if the league don't get their shit together, these women could just say, you know what? Let's just do a rival and make it a 5-on-5 because they only do 3-on-3. Let's make it a 5-on-5. Give us a couple months, and by September, December, by September, October, we're back to doing our rival. I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind that at all. But the narrative that people want to paint is insane. And I have seen these women play basketball all my life, college and in the pros. And there has to be a respect level somewhere with these women. Not one person drives a league, and that is ridiculous that people sit there and actually sit there with a straight face on camera or on social media and say one person drives the fucking league. That is ridiculous. Just negating the fact that all of these women are the reason for why she's even in the position she's in. Because if she's the only person there, then who the fuck is she playing against? Fucking scrubs? You want to sit there and have this conversation? If all these women ain't so talented, then she's playing against fucking scrubs. So she's not as great as y'all keep saying she is. Or these women are the best at their jobs. They're as great as she is, probably maybe greater, and she still has to prove herself. Like I said, the narrative that y'all drive is so ridiculous. It makes me question, what the fuck do y'all be watching? What the fuck do y'all be watching? I don't understand that. But anyway, college basketball. Listen, man, I'm looking forward to these college tournaments. I'm looking forward to the college tournament kicking off tomorrow. The first four is tomorrow. Um, there's two things about this tournament though. I got a massive problem with. One is Miami of Ohio, who went undefeated all fucking year and lost in conference play in the conference tournament. They have to play in a play-in. The first four, they have to play. They have to play to get into the tournament. That's fucking ridiculous. That's just fucking ridiculous. They went undefeated all year, was in the top 25 for a good stretch of time, and then because they lost in a conference tournament, they're now in a play-in, basically. That's fucking stupid. I don't care. I don't care that they lost in the conference tournament. They went undefeated. Oh, well, they didn't play nobody. They didn't play nobody. You know what you sound like? You sound like these college football playoff people. That would have sounded like to me. Oh, they didn't play nobody. Okay. My problem with this shit is that they went 31-0 and lost one game this whole fucking year. That tells me more about the fucking team than them losing a game, which again, they probably played this team already 2 times and they already know how to play them. They already know how to play them. I don't understand that shit. I think it's very stupid that they have sat there and that the committee sat there and thought that was a good idea to fucking do that. And this committee is really losing the fucking plot of the story. Miami of Ohio should have been in the position of already in a tournament, not having to worry about anything. The fact that people were still sitting there saying they were a bubble team and they were fucking undefeated is crazy to me. I don't understand that. I can't understand that. They ain't the only problem that I got with this tournament. They ain't the only problem I got with this tournament. St. John's, speaking of conference, St. John's wins the Big East regular season, and they win the Big East conference tournament, and they beat UConn, who is a 2 seed in the same bracket they're in, and they're a 5 seed. St. John's, who went on a 18-game fucking winning streak. These motherfuckers went on an 18-game winning streak. And St. John's is now a fucking 5 seed in the Eastern region. But UConn, who they put belt to ass to, is a 2 seed in the same region. How the fuck did you calculate that? How the fuck did you calculate? You can sit there and say, well, out of conference, I don't give a fuck what they look like out of conference. Facts are, when they played in conference, St. John's beat them 2 out of the 3 times they played them. That's facts. Which means St. John's is a better team than UConn. And they literally just played each other literally for the title of conference, Big East title, and they whooped that ass. And it wasn't close. So I'm trying to figure out, what the fuck are you watching? Now, some people sit there and say, what the hell do you think St. John's should have been? St. John's, bruh, St. John's won a conference, and yet they are the 5th seed in the Eastern region. But Nebraska is 4th seeded. What the fuck are you watching? What are you watching, nigga? I get it. Big East was not great this year. I get it. Nebraska survived a very tough Big Ten. Okay. But there is a very massive conversation that should have been had. Bro, I'm looking at this shit is crazy to me, bro. The brackets of this tournament, and this is why I say to a lot of people that sit here continuously and bitch moan and complain about NIL. Because college sports get they fucking comeuppance in the end. All those kids that move from these different schools, they get their comeuppance in the end because they go to these schools and get fucked over. Absolutely fucking fucked over. Some of these tournaments, you just be sitting there like, how the fuck did you rank this shit? I don't understand that shit. I'm sorry. I don't understand that shit that man. I don't understand that shit that man. I don't like that at all. Yeah, St. John's being a fifth seed is fucking crazy. And they won a conference tournament. But the team they beat is the two seed in the same region. That shit is insane. I don't understand that. I want to say this too. You know what? Let me get into this right now. To the four seeds, to the four teams that got the number one seeds: Duke, Michigan, Arizona, and Florida. Which makes it even worse that UConn lost because if UConn would have won, they would have been the first. They would have been one of those one seeds. But anyway, to Duke, Michigan, Arizona, and Florida. I don't see how either one, none of you get to the Final Four. I've said this numerous times. I think Arizona is the team that gets to the Final Four. If I had to put my money on a number one seed to get to the Final Four, it's Arizona. I think Arizona is going to get to the number one. I think that Arizona Wildcats are going to uh the Final Four this year. I've said this numerous times. Duke is fucked, and there's not a soul that can tell me that Duke is not fucked. Duke is fucked. Duke got really fucked. Their hopes and prayers is either St. John's loses to Kansas or they get knocked out by North Iowa the first game of the tournament. Outside of that, I don't think they survive. They're not beating. I don't think they're beating St. John's if they get to the Sweet 16. I think if St. John's gets to the Sweet 16, I think they easily beat Duke. There it is. I think they beat Duke. Florida, Florida, man, Florida. I think Vanderbilt gets you. Same thing with St. John's. I think if you have to play Vanderbilt, a team that kind of a team that knows you, a team that you've played what two times already this season, a team in Vanderbilt that is a really good fucking team too. Ooh, shit, that's a problem. That's a massive damn problem. Um, I think Vanderbilt gets you. You got to play them in the Sweet 16 too. I think Vanderbilt gets you. I would love to see it and say my North Carolina Tar Heels would get you too, but that I think there'd be elite eight. There'd be an elite eight matchup. If North Carolina gets there. But yeah. Oh man, oh shit, I don't like that. If I was Florida, I would hate that decision because I got to play Vanderbilt, bro. That I'm not looking forward to that shit. Michigan is also in the same kind of Philly, like feeling like kind of the same. But I think Michigan has actually had the better chance, which is crazy to say. Michigan has actually a really good chance to get to it. But I think Iowa State is a better team than Michigan is. I think Iowa State has a little bit more veteranship than Michigan do. That is why I think Arizona gets. And I know everybody's like, "Oh man, Arizona is going to." And everybody's like, "Arizona, Arkansas is going to the Final Four." I love John Calipari, but John Calipari has not been particularly great in the tournaments that people continuously fit. He's had his moments, but he's not been particularly great in tournaments. And I think people sit there and try to act like, oh, he's going to turn this, he's going to take Arkansas all the way. I think they get to Arizona. I think they get their ass beat, which will be a Sweet 16 matchup. If they get to Arizona, they will get their ass beat. And I don't think people are ready to hear that. I think Arizona could easily beat Arkansas. I think Arkansas, again, you're falling in love with a week. Like you're falling in love that Arkansas got to the conference championship game and Arkansas did this. And I think if you play Arkansas in Sweet 16, Arizona plays Arkansas in the Sweet 16. I think Arizona beats them. I think Arizona beats them. Like I said, Michigan is in a very fucked up situation. Like Michigan, if I had to pick a one seed that gets to the champion, gets to the final four, it's it's Michigan. I mean, it's Arizona. If I had to pick one of those four seeds, Michigan, Arizona, Duke, Michigan, Arizona, and Florida. If I had to pick those four teams, one has to get to a Final Four. Then it's yeah, man. It's easily Arizona. I think Arizona gets to the Final Four. I think Duke is too young. I think I think Duke is too young. I think Florida doesn't really have that much scoring on the floor as much as they can rebound. They're not really particularly great at scoring the ball. And Michigan is just I think Michigan also is in the same vein as kind of like a little bit of a Duke where but also Michigan also has these lulls where sometimes scoring the ball might be a little bit well they can score, but defensively they're not particularly great, which means they can score, but you can also score on them. And when you got a team like that where I can score on you too, and a team all they gotta do is just get hot from three, and that's your ass. Especially in a college playoff game, in a tournament, all I gotta do is just get hot from three, and that's your ass. Oh yeah, that's not going to end well for you. It's not going to end well for you. Baseball. Baseball is an interesting situation, ain't it? We got the World Baseball Classic. It's doing really great numbers right now. Team USA is, I think, in the championship game. Yeah, they're in the championship game. And this is all playing into the narrative of what baseball needs going into this upcoming season. You have to get people to love the game again. And with that being said, now you got, I think they got them, the Yankees and the Giants, San Francisco Giants play on Netflix March 25th. You got uh, baseball now on Peacock, NBC. Um, which brings me to can baseball get back to being the third biggest sport in the USA? NFL is one, NBA is two. We can stop trying to act like it's not because it is. But when baseball is hot. It's scorching. And we saw this with an uptick in hockey when they did the Four Nations tournament a couple of years ago. And it was the first one they ever did. And you saw so many people, maybe it's, the patriotic pride of people in sports, take to that moment. And they loved it very much. And it's the same thing now with the World Baseball Classic, where you're starting to see the patriotic nature of baseball fans kind of kick in. And it makes me actually ask the question of is this going to help baseball going into the regular season? Because again, these are teams, people, players that are going to have to go to their teams. Aaron Judge is going to go back to the Yankees. Gunnar Henderson is going to go to the Orioles. Uh, Bobby's going to go to the Kansas City Royals. Are you now going to be fans of the person, which makes you fans of the team, which is great for the fucking league because they need that? You already know. If you don't know, I'm a Cubs fan, so I am looking forward to this fucking season. I hope we whoop ass. Alex Braitman is now a Cub, which I'm looking super forward to that. We brought in a guy from I think Japan. Yeah, baseball has a chance to really take advantage of the World Cup, the World Baseball Classic, and I remember the World Baseball Classic when I was a kid. Like I remember that shit being a part of. People remember the baseball games that we used to have back when we were kids. They used to have the World Baseball Classic a part of the game, and for the last what shit decade plus, it lay dormant for a very long time. And now that it's kind of now heating back up with all of the now that it's heating back up with all of the incredible international players that we have in baseball again, this is the fun part of baseball. The international US, mixture. And that's great. And that's what makes baseball so much fun. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this is going to look moving forward for Team USA, but particularly all the players on Team USA, because that is something that baseball has desperately needed. They need individual stars of USA baseball. And I feel like that's been the one thing that has hurt the USA, well, baseball in general in the USA, is that you don't have a definitive number one guy in baseball where you can pinpoint and say that's a baseball player. That's a top tier baseball player. You can sit there and say Aaron Judge. Yeah, Aaron Judge, I guess. Yeah. But not too many people know who the fuck Aaron Judge is like that. Crazy as it sounds, a lot of people don't know who Aaron Judge is like that. So, and like I've said numerous times, the face of the league is Shohei Ohtani. But you need somebody that can identify the U.S. baseball players. And this is why the World Baseball Classic is actually working perfectly well for Team USA and basically baseball in general. And they need that. Can they get back to being the third biggest league in American sports? Definitely, definitely, it can happen because again, you gotta feed the machine, you gotta feed the people, not the machine, but the people, and that's very important. So yeah, NBA. So there's a rumor. Well, not a rumor. The NBA could be expanding from 30 teams to 32, which is very massive for the NBA. It's been a very long time since the NBA has expanded. The last team that the league brought in was the Thunder? Yeah, that was the last team. The Thunder. The OKC Thunder was the last expansion team. And I can't even say that was an expansion team because they moved Seattle to OKC. Um so the last expansion team, the last expansion team, fuck, I can't even remember. Was the Charlotte Bobcats? Now Charlotte Hornets again. But the Charlotte Bobcats, I think that was the last expansion team. Yeah, that might have been the last expansion team. Was the Charlotte Bobcats. Yeah, holy shit. Yeah, it's been like 20 years. 20 some years. Like Charlotte Bobcats was the last expansion team. Sounds absolutely insane, but it's true. Charlotte Bobcats was the last expansion team. Now the Charlotte Hornets again, because New Orleans gave up Hornets and let them have Charlotte Hornets again. But that was the last expansion team in the NBA. Like I said, you can sit there and say the expansions are really was like the OKC Thunder and all them, but I don't really call that an expansion. They took a team from a city and just put it in another location. I would say that's more so just moving locations than an expansion, like the Vancouver Grizzlies. Like they moved the Vancouver Grizzlies to Memphis. Did you see? Kids would never even know that. Vancouver. The Memphis Grizzlies were the Vancouver Grizzlies, right? There were multiple. There had two. No, that Vancouver Grizzlies was the only team in Canada at the time, and then they moved into Memphis and had to put a team in Toronto. so, so yeah. Um, but that's the thing about this situation. The last team that actually was an expansion team was the Charlotte Bobcats. That's insane. That's almost 20 something years ago. That's insane. The rumor is that Vegas and Seattle are now going to be the two teams that are going to get teams in the NBA. And that's beautiful. That's awesome. And that's great. Now, a lot of people are saying they might actually move one team and then actually create another team, which I get it. And the conversation immediately becomes, well, who's the team getting moved? First, some people say it's going to be the Pelicans from New Orleans, my New Orleans Pelicans, and of course the Memphis Grizzlies. Me personally, I would just create two new teams and just have an expansion draft. Um, I think it's very stupid to just move two teams out of a city because now you're putting yourself back in the same situation you were in years later, which is Memphis is not going to let you just not put anything back in the city. And as much as you can sit there and say shit about the New Orleans Pelicans, New Orleans do love New Orleans Pelicans. Like, don't get it twisted. New Orleans loves the Pelicans. Don't get it twisted, motherfucker. Like, I know people don't want to. People want to sit there and say, "Oh man, y'all don't really care about the Pelicans." No, we fuck with the Pelicans. They just suck. That's that's the difference. They're just not good. And when they're good, we support the fuck out the Pelicans. Like, don't ever get it twisted. I think they should just make two new teams, and this is something that they've been screaming. But of course, because of that, this immediately becomes the conversation of, well, Memphis and Minnesota might go into the Eastern Conference, which means Seattle, because Seattle was a Western Conference team, and Las Vegas is close to Los Angeles, so it makes sense to have the Vegas team be in the Western Conference. I get Memphis. I get Memphis. Minnesota is where I'm kind of a little bit like, I guess. But I also could get why they're gonna maybe move Memphis to Minnesota. I get, I mean, Minnesota to the Eastern Conference because Minnesota is closer to what, Boston than it is Los Angeles. I get it. I understand it. Um, and it would kill a lot of the Western Conference ills if you are not having to go to Minnesota as much. So I get why you're doing it, but at the same time, moving teams in and out of conference situations, doing conference alignment, it's a hard fucking thing to do. It's fucking difficult. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this is going to be played out. I'm looking super duper forward to this. I'm happy that the NBA is finally deciding to expand the fucking league. About fucking time. There's too many teams. Seattle deserves a team. And Vegas is becoming the hub of sports. Not just, boxing and MMA now. It's got a WNBA team that's been very successful with the Los Angeles Aces. You have a football team with the Las Vegas Raiders. You're about to bring baseball to Vegas with the Oakland Athletics. Now about to be Las Vegas Athletics. You have you got hockey now in Vegas with the Golden Knights. Vegas has shown you that they can hold a basketball league, an NBA league. And of course, you have the conference play in tournaments, the finals in Vegas. So they are showing you we can do this. And I think Vegas has always been somewhere where NBA wanted to expand. This shit has been, people forget that Vegas has been talking about getting a basketball team since like 2007 when they had the first All Star game in Las Vegas. Like, this isn't just a new thing. This has been a thing for a very long time. That Vegas in the NBA could have been a thing, and now they finally are. So I'm not surprised that this is what the situation may be. So if Vegas does get the team, I will not be mad at it. Same thing with Seattle. Seattle has been on the list of a long time coming of teams that cities that deserve an NBA team, and now they're finally going to probably get one. So, and me personally, I would just create two new teams. I don't think you taking a team out of a city makes sense at this moment because now you're in the same fucking boat that you were just in a moment ago, which is now you got two cities without a team. And if you're the NBA, you want to expand to 32. You don't want to have a situation where you have no team in one of these markets. That's a stupid decision. So do what you need to do, expand it, get two new teams, create two new teams, have an expansion draft, and let's move on. Speaking of the NBA, I feel like it's a complete and utter just disrespectful thing that Victor Wembanyama is not as talked about as possibly being an MVP candidate. I don't know how many games he's actually physically lost, like not you know played in this season. I have no idea how many games he hasn't played in this season. Because I know it's a record, like you got to play 65 games. You have to be a starter for 65 games. So I don't know how many games he's actually missed. But I feel like Victor Wembanyama not being considered MVP is fucking insane. That's insane. This man is basically leading the league in blocks. He's one of the best scorers in a game. I'm pretty sure he probably leads the league in fucking rebounds. But it's like y'all are trying to stop the inevitable, and you can't fucking do it. It's obvious that this kid is one of the best players in the NBA. And I get that he's probably going to win multiple MVPs. But when I hear people say Gilgeous Alexander is the MVP this year, or Jalen Brown, I question that. I question that severely. I'm sorry that I do, but I question that severely. The fact that the Spurs are 3.5 games back of the Thunder, and the next closest team to the Thunder is the Lakers at 10.5 games. And you were sitting here trying to tell me that Victor Wembanyama is not an MVP? The fuck out of here. You serious? Fuck out of here. It's ridiculous. Anyway, NFL. Let's close this shit out. Max Crosby. Max Crosby. Listen, I'm not gonna go too deep into this Ravens Max Crosby situation. It is what it is. I will say this though. If I am Max Crosby, I think I saw him say he's committed to the Ravens. I think he said that. He's committed to the Raiders. And if I was Max Crosby, I would say the same shit. There is no reason for Max Crosby to get traded. If I am the Raiders, we tried it. It didn't work. The team backed out of it. I don't like how the media has also tried to use this bullshit narrative to make it seem like, oh, the Raiders traded him. So if I was Max Crosby, I'd be mad at the Raiders. No. Max Crosby is the one that said he wanted to be traded. If he is going to get traded, then he will be traded. But he never once said, I want to leave Las Vegas. It is what it is. But to sit here and now pretend like Max Crosby doesn't see what the fuck the Raiders are doing with this team. This went from a team that for a good stretch of time didn't have the necessary assets to even be considered a good team. And now you've had this free agency situation, this free agency, where now you have an incredible center in Tyler Linderbaum, and you have help on the defensive side of the ball. You still got to get a receiver. I feel like you still got to get a number one receiver. That is a no. And you're gonna probably draft Fernando Mendoza number one. If I'm Max Crosby, am I leaving that situation? You tried it. It didn't fucking work. It is what it is. Maybe, just maybe, God is giving you another chance. If I am the Raiders, I'm not trading Max Crosby. I tried it. It didn't work. Could the draft come up and maybe they sit there and say, Dallas sends them something, or I don't really know what Dallas can fucking trade them at this moment. I mean, if Dallas not giving up those first two picks in CD Lamb, I'm not budging. I'm telling you that shit now. If I was the Raiders, I'm not budging. What am I budging for? I just got 2 first round picks from the Ravens. You got 2 first round picks and you got CD Lamb. Get that shit up. I'm not budging, bro. Same thing with the Eagles. Eagles got multiple picks. Make the deal. And give me AJ Brown while you at it. Every damn deal now is going to be 2 first-round picks and a receiver. 2 first-round picks and a receiver. And I'm not asking for just bullshit. I'm asking for your top receiver on your team. AJ Brown, CeeDee Lamb. You want if Cincinnati, right? Cincinnati, give me the first 2 picks and give me. I take T Higgins. I take T Higgins. You want to make this deal? Then let's really make this deal. And that's the thing. That is the thing that people need to understand. If I am Max Crosby, I'm not getting traded. I'm not going up to the Raiders saying, "There, let's trade me." Like, fuck them. I got everything I need right here. All y'all gotta do is just continuously show me that you're at least trying, and I'm in. Let's do this shit. I am officially committed. Let's do this shit. What should they do? And that is the Tennessee Titans. They have the 4th overall pick this year. Listen, out of all of the teams that is drafted in the top 5, I truly believe the Tennessee Titans. I truly believe the Tennessee Titans are the only team in the top 5 of the draft that actually have a future. like, and I mean an actual future. Like, I have no clue what the fuck. The Raiders, yeah, but the Raiders still need some shit they need to fix. But the the Cardinals, Cardinals, and Browns, all questionable teams. Every single one of them. Every single one of them. Those 5 teams. Raiders did great for agency, but you still got to draft very well. But the Jets, the Cardinals, and the Browns are literally feel like they're gonna be right back in the same position they're in last year. Like this year's draft, you can literally sit there and say pinpoint it. 1, 2, and 3 will be the Cardinals, the Jets, and the Browns. You can feel that. Like those are the 3 teams that's probably gonna be 1, 2, and 3. And it's gonna be a surprise team, maybe like Atlanta, maybe Tampa, maybe Dallas. Who the fuck knows? Maybe all of this shit crumbles in the Eagles or the Giants. Maybe it's the Texans. Maybe it's the Jaguars. Who the fuck knows? But it's gonna be a surprise team where you're like, how the fuck did they end up in this shit? The Vikings. It could be something. But I think we can flat out say, for a shadow of a doubt, 1, 2, and 3 next year will probably be the Jets, the Browns, and the Cardinals. And 1, 2, and 3 will either be the Jets, the Browns, and the Cardinals. We know that. The Titans, I feel like, have that Patriots arc. And I said this last year when I saw the Patriots. I said it's this shit again with the Titans. I think the Titans are going to win the AFC South. I think the Titans are going to win the AFC South. I know it's blasphemy. I know it's crazy. And it has nothing to do with the Texans, the Jags, or the Colts. I think the Titans are just way more advanced than people think. I think the Titans are better than what people think. I think Cam Ward is Cam Ward, I think is going to take off this year. And I don't think people are ready to hear that. I think Cam Ward is going to take off this year. I think Cam Ward is going to have an incredible year. They still need to get a receiver. They still need to get a receiver. But I like the Titans, man. I think the Titans are gonna have a great year. I think they hired the best head coach this year in Robert Saleh. I think he's going to fit that team perfectly. People forget, like I said, 2 years ago, the Titans were the number 2 overall defense in the NFL. And now you add Robert Saleh, who basically did a freaking miracle with the San Francisco 49ers. I don't think people understand. Robert Saleh did a miracle with the San Francisco 49ers defense. You had no Nick Bosa, you had no Fred Warner. Basically, half the fucking team, half the defense was hurt and out for an entire year. And Robert Saleh made a miracle happen. Got them to the playoffs and was 2 games away from the Super Bowl. And let's be 100. That offense is what let them down in that game, not the fucking defense. And people will sit there and say it was the defense. No, it was the offense. San Francisco's offense could do shit. They couldn't move the ball. That defense didn't do a fucking thing. They were already down by the time you looked up because the defense of Seattle shut that offense the fuck down. Even when they played Seattle a couple weeks before that, it wasn't the defense that gave that game away. It was the offense of San Francisco. Now you put Robert Saleh with a younger Tennessee team, with a better defense, with younger defensive players. Yeah, I think Tennessee is going to have an incredible season this upcoming year. Which brings me to the fourth pick overall, which is who the fuck do they take? Now a lot of people say take defense because it's Robert Saleh, and obviously. But if I'm them, I take either a weapon, which you take either the kid from Ohio State, Cornell Tate. You could take the kid from USC, or you take offensive line. And I am not opposed to Tennessee taking an offensive lineman. I think Tennessee needs offensive line help like a son of a bitch. So if you take an offensive lineman, I would not be surprised. Why not? But yeah, I think Tennessee's gonna have an amazing year. I think people are really sleeping on Tennessee. So yeah, but that is all. Next week I'll be back. Talk about more things sports related. But that is all. I am Brian Janeau. This is I Believe Sports. Peace.